All right, let's jump straight into this explainer and really push the absolute limits of human understanding. Today, we're looking at the biggest mysteries that scientists still just can't explain. We live in this incredible era where it feels like we've got all the answers right at our fingertips. But here's a wild reality check for you. Despite completely mapping the human genome, landing rovers on Mars, and literally carrying supercomputers around in our pockets, we still only understand about 5% of the universe. Crazy, right? The more we learn, the more we realize just how much is hiding in the shadows. So this explainer is dedicated entirely to those shadows, those absolute boundaries where our current scientific models simply break down.
So, what actually happens when the smartest minds on Earth just hit a brick wall? It's really easy to look at a scientific roadblock as a failure. We kind of expect science to be this neat, linear progression from total ignorance to absolute truth. But rather than a failure, we really need to understand that not knowing is actually the ultimate driving force of all scientific discovery. Every single time a brilliant physicist or a neuroscientist hits a wall, that wall becomes the foundation for an entirely new way of thinking. The mysteries we're about to dive into aren't signs of defeat at all. They're essentially invitations to rethink absolutely everything we know about the universe.
The edge of human knowledge, where science meets the unknown. We're going to take a journey today, organizing these massive mysteries by physical scale, starting way out at the macro level and zooming all the way in. Mysteries of the cosmos, the vast unknown. Let's start with the largest scale imaginable by looking out into space, where things get incredibly baffling very quickly. To really ground ourselves here, we first have to talk about dark matter. This is the invisible suspect that scientists are playing cosmic detectives trying to track down. By definition, dark matter just doesn't interact with light at all. We can't see it, we can't touch it, and our most wildly advanced telescopes cannot directly photograph it. And yet, the physics community is absolutely convinced it's out there. Why? Well, because of gravitational lensing, which is the way light literally bends around unseen mass, and the sheer, mind-boggling speed of orbiting stars. Without dark matter, the universe as we currently observe it simply shouldn't exist. It's like this invisible scaffolding of reality, a literal ghost in the cosmic machine that we only know is there purely because of the undeniable gravitational footprint it leaves behind.
There's a really stark contrast here when you look at what we know versus what we don't. We know galaxies exist. We can look through our telescopes, see them spinning, and calculate their mass based on the stars and gas we can actually measure. But here's the massive problem. They are spinning so incredibly fast that the gravity from their visible mass isn't even close to being enough to keep them from just flying apart. According to the standard known laws of physics, these galaxies should be shredding themselves right into the void. So what unseen force is actually holding all these galaxies together? That mysterious, gravitational superglue is exactly what dark matter is.
Look, this perfectly illustrates just how little of our own universe we actually understand. Visible matter, and I mean every single star you see in the night sky, every planet, every asteroid, plus you and me, that makes up just a tiny 5% slice of reality. The remaining 95% of the entire cosmos is completely dominated by dark matter and dark energy. We're basically sailing on this vast ocean where we can only perceive the foam on top of the waves, while a completely unseen abyss dictates all the currents underneath.
The enigma of life, the mystery within. Let's move down to the human scale now and see how this creates an entirely different kind of cold case right inside our own heads.
Before we drop off the cliff into the unknown here, we have to define consciousness. This is a biological reality you are actively experiencing right at this very second, just listening to my voice. It's that fundamental state of being awake, being aware, and having a truly subjective internal experience of reality. Philosophers and cognitive scientists often call these subjective experiences qualia, like the raw feeling of warmth from the sun on your skin, the emotional punch of a great piece of music, or that inner monologue narrating your day. It's literally the most intimate, obvious thing in your entire life, and yet scientifically speaking, it's completely bizarre.
So the crucial point here is that while we can map out the biology pretty much perfectly, the actual leap from physical matter to subjective thought completely baffles modern science. I mean, think about it. What we know is that the brain is a 3-pound biological organ. We can map its neural pathways, we totally understand neurotransmitters, and we can watch specific parts of the brain light up on an fMRI scan when you feel fear or joy. But what we don't know is how the firing of a physical neuron actually creates the invisible, subjective feeling of joy. How does a physical lump of wet biology generate complex, subjective inner thoughts? It's called the hard problem of consciousness, for a very good reason. There's just this absolute gap in our explanations between physical chemistry and the sheer magic of a first-person experience.
So who are the suspects? Here are the current theories scientists are actively investigating to solve this biological puzzle. First, it could simply be incredibly complex biological processing, the idea that if you get enough neurons firing in just the right pattern, consciousness simply emerges, kind of like a software program running on wetware. But a lot of folks think that's just not enough. Alternatively, we might be dealing with a quantum mind, which suggests that the completely bizarre rules of quantum mechanics are operating right inside the microtubules of our brain cells, making consciousness a literal quantum phenomenon. Or, actually, maybe we're missing an entirely unidentified physical law altogether. Just like we needed to discover electromagnetism to finally explain light, we might need a whole new branch of physics just to explain the mind.
Puzzles of the quantum realm, the bizarre micro-world. Now we're shrinking down way past the human scale to the very micro level of the universe, where the rules of reality seem to just completely break down.
The absolute best example of this micro-mystery is quantum entanglement. This is a confirmed, verifiable scientific fact that completely defies all common sense. Even Albert Einstein famously hated this concept. He called it spooky action at a distance. By definition, entanglement is a phenomenon where two or more particles become so inextricably linked that anything happening to one particle instantly affects the other. And when we say instantly, we mean literally zero time delay, completely regardless of the distance between them. These particles could be separated by a few inches on a lab bench, or they could be on totally opposite sides of the observable universe.
Once again, we have to compare our solid, known physical observations against a truly baffling mystery. What we know is that we can create this entangled state in labs all the time now. It's measurable, it's repeatable. But the golden rule of physics, the one laid down by Einstein himself, is that absolutely nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. Not a spaceship, not a radio wave, not even information. Yet, what we don't know is how, when we change the spin of an entangled particle here on Earth, its partner across the galaxy reacts instantly. How on earth are they bypassing the speed of light? Are space and time just total illusions at the quantum level? We honestly just don't know.
Why the unknown matters. The future of discovery. Okay, let's step back from the quantum realm for a second and ask the most important question of all. Why does this all matter to you?
The real reason we care is that cracking these cold cases, from the massive cosmos down to quantum mechanics, literally holds the key to our future evolution as a species. Solving these mysteries isn't just some dry academic exercise for people in white lab coats. It's going to fundamentally rewrite our entire understanding of reality. Think about it. Figuring out quantum entanglement is already paving the way right now for a completely unhackable quantum internet and computers that could cure diseases in days. Understanding dark matter, that could unlock entirely new, limitless sources of energy. And decoding consciousness, well, that completely changes how we view ourselves, how we interact with artificial intelligence, and how we view the very concept of life itself. This really captures it perfectly. The true beauty of science actually lies in the relentless pursuit of what we just do not yet understand. Staring directly into the dark void of our own ignorance is humanity's greatest strength. Every single major leap in human history, from discovering fire to splitting the atom, started out as a complete and utter mystery. Our curiosity, our stubborn refusal to just accept the unknown without a fight, is exactly what drives us forward.
So, we've explored the massive, invisible scaffolding holding the cosmos together, the purely subjective universe locked inside your own brain, and those totally rule-breaking particles down in the quantum realm. It's clear the universe is incredibly vast, deeply mysterious, and just relentlessly fascinating. So, what's going to be the next great mystery we unravel? No one knows for sure, but the journey to find out is absolutely the most exciting story humanity has ever told. I'll leave you staring at the stars with that final thought. Stay curious, keep exploring, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.